Armoire makes getting dressed easy. With a clothing rental membership from Armoire, build the perfect wardrobe with brands that are high quality, unique, and recommended just for you. All you have to do is take a 5-minute style quiz and select items from your dynamic personalized closet. The styles show up at your door in as little as 2 days. Then when you're ready for new clothes, just swap them out for more new-to-you styles. Now, I went on a girls' trip to Santa Fe recently, and I rented all of my outfits from Armoire. It was so much fun putting together a mix of casual and formal looks, and my favorite was this pair of white, wide-legged jeans from Paige that went well with everything. Now, I wouldn't normally own anything white because I can be kind of clumsy, but with Armoire, I just ship it back and they'll take care of keeping the pants in pristine condition. Right now, our listeners can give Armoire a try and get up to 50% off their first month. That's up to $125 off. Just visit armoire.style/dateable. That is armoire.style, spelled ARMOIRE.style/DATEABLE to get up to 50% off your first month and never worry about what to wear again. Try Armoire today.
Could your daily routine be full of hormone disruptors? There are more than 1,000 hormone disruptors living rent-free in our environment right now. In our food, our water, the air we breathe, the clothes we wear, our skincare, they all mess with our hormones. The good news is we don't have to suffer through it anymore because now we have Hormone Harmony, a formula made only with herbal ingredients that are shown to reduce hormonal symptoms of women of all ages. Since I've been using Hormone Harmony, I have felt more balanced, and other women feel the same way. The biggest benefit, they say, is feeling like myself again. That's what women mention over and over in their reviews, and there are over 30,000 reviews for Hormone Harmony. For a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use the code DATEABLE at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use the code DATEABLE for 15% off today.
Hi, I'm Yue Xu.
And I'm Julie Krafchick.
We're active daters turned dating insiders.
Here to dive into everything modern dating and relationships.
Welcome to Dateable. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Brunch Talk, where we answer your burning dating questions.
And we dish about everything that's on our mind.
I did just have a croissant, so I do have brunch on my mind.
Ooh, that sounds good.
It's a hero croissant. It's the one that's like has all the protein and fiber. And it's like handmade by someone that works at the French Laundry, the pastry chef. So it's a really fancy croissant. And I savor that shit whenever it's a croissant day for me.
Wait, is it like frozen that you buy at the supermarket?
Yes.
Okay.
It's like a box, a subscription box.
Ew.
Trying to get them as a sponsor.
I know. I was going to say not a sponsor, but should be. This sounds amazing.
So good. Like, has so much protein and fiber. It's like a healthy croissant, but it has butter in it. So when I air fry it and the butter just melts, so it gets really crispy. So good.
So you're on the air fryer train.
Well, I'm trying to get off the air fryer train because it's so toxic. Like really
Why
bad
is
for
it
you.
toxic?
It's the Teflon they use inside most air fryers that just has like forever chemicals in it. So I'm trying to find a stainless steel air fryer.
I have a lot of friends that live and die by the air fryer. Like they're obsessed. But my partner is very anti it because he's like, it's basically an oven. Why do you need it?
Oh, interesting. Do you have like a little toaster oven?
We don't. We just use our oven.
Okay.
For everything.
So that's my argument is if I'm just trying to eat a croissant, I don't want to turn on my entire oven to heat it up.
Yeah. But that's like his point is like, it's not really a new thing. It's just like a convenience factor. But then we're also like, we don't have room for it.
Yeah. I can see that, definitely. It's convenient when I just want like a pastry or some chicken wings.
So I feel like if I lived alone, I would get one.
Yeah, I can see you getting on the air fryer train.
Totally. These are the sacrifices you have to make in a relationship.
Remember
no air fryer.
When we had Wild Grain as a sponsor? And
oh my God.
What did we have at my place?
It was the waffles.
Yeah, I made those in an air fryer.
I mean, they tasted the same as the oven, but yeah, I see what you're saying. It's like you have to wait for it to heat up and all the stuff.
Yeah, I don't want to take up an entire oven. But it's also an argument for a toaster oven, just a smaller oven.
Are people finding this a riveting conversation or what?
If you look at my shopping list or like my cookies on my computer, it's like looking at toaster ovens and stainless steel air fryers every day. It's really sad.
I feel like that is what happens is once you get in the mode, at least for me, once you get in the mode of looking up one thing, like everything starts to be that. Like when I was moved into my place, I was all about home furnishing. So my like whole personal Instagram was home furnishing everywhere.
Yeah.
And now everything I look at is weddings.
Weddings,
It just like goes in phases. And I'm like, my God, why is my whole personal Instagram weddings?
Because they know. Because
They know.
Did you know that my friend who's a girl, she has a burner Instagram account as a boy. And she said, well, she used it for work because she control like some people at work without revealing who she is.
Oh my God.
It's such a great idea. But she said when she signed up for the account as a boy, everything that was served to her were just boobs. She was just like a sea of
Really?
boobs. Yes. Default.
That's sick.
Right?
Okay, I'm sorry. This is like a real tangent and probably no one cares, but you know who's gone off the rails is Mark Zuckerberg. Have you seen like some of his stuff lately?
I think she's going to leave him.
Whatever. Like, I don't like Elon Musk. I think he's a douche, but at least he owns what he thinks.
Yes, he's authentic.
Yeah. I feel like Mark Zuckerberg is now on like the Trump Elon Musk train because that's like trendy and that's what's in power right now. And he was complete opposite. Like he removed tampons from the men's bathrooms at
Meta.
At Meta, yeah. The thing that bothers me about that, like whatever, you can have whatever opinion you want on tampons in men's bathrooms, but let's say he really just wanted to phase it out. You don't need to make a public declaration that you're removing them. Just wait till they run out organically or move them to the women's bathroom. Like the fact that he made it that it was this big thing he was doing and that he made some comment like the workplace needs to be more masculine now. It's like, fuck you. Come on.
He's trying to make a statement.
Yeah.
In a way that is getting him PR, but it's not the right kind of PR for him because he reminds me of that person who has a chip on their shoulder because they're probably bullied in school and then becomes a professional pickup artist. That is the character that he is playing right now, and it's fucking disgusting.
Like he used to be the nerdy guy and just do that.
Own it.
That's fine. That's what made you a billionaire, right? Like, there should be a nerdy guy out there. Like I will forever, what remains rent free in my mind is this photo of him jet skiing or water skiing in Hawaii, and his entire face is lined with sunscreen. I showed it to Yue when I was down there, and it's just, I don't know why that like image makes me laugh so much because he looks like his whole face is white basically. But if that's what you want to do it. Like why are you now like in gold chains and growing out your hair and trying to be all like macho? It's weird.
Did you see the performance he did for his wife's birthday?
Yeah, I did. It was just it was nauseating. And I'm like, why am I following this guy on Facebook and why is it coming up for me? But maybe fill in our audience if they have not seen this.
He's just inauthentic. I think that's the point. It's like you can be an asshole and a douchebag, which is not great, but at least like if that's authentic to who you are, okay? Like Elon.
Don't be an inauthentic douche. Yeah.
Like with Elon, there were no surprises. You're like, yeah, this guy's fucking weird and he's crazy. But with Mark Zuckerberg, he's just trying to be something he's not to fit in.
Yeah. Okay. What would you do if you were his wife? Like you married this tame, like seemingly good guy for years, like kind of nerdy, but you embraced that and you were down with it. And now they're turning into this. What do you do? That is like my biggest fear, that someone will just change that dramatically.
And for her in particular, she's like a well-respected doctor. She's had children with him. I just feel like if I were in her position, I'd be like, I don't want to be part of this image. This is not who I signed up for.
Well, she probably fell in love with the nerdy guy that he was.
Yes.
Like, what do you do though? Like, do you sit your partner down and be like, I've noticed some changes?
This should be
Or
the
do you
topic for this
accept-
brunch talk.
I'm serious. I want to debate it because like I really, this is a fear that keeps me up at night, and there's no reason for this fear. I don't have like sides of my partner doing a Mark Zuckerberg, but it's just something that floats in my mind a lot of like, you know, with the ebbs and flows of relationships, people change. People, you know, have maybe midlife crises, which is, I think Mark Zuckerberg is having it away, trying to be cool when he's like in his 40s. What do you do though?
I don't know. I mean, it's easy for me to say because I'm not in that position right now to be like, I would leave him. But when you're in it,
they have kids together. Yeah. It's not like he's done anything terrible to her, presumably.
Well, that we don't know.
We don't know, but at least from what we're judging off of, it's just he's undergoing some personal changes.
Yeah. And you can see where this is headed. It's like the Jeff Bezos path. It's like now you have money and power. You're going to become something you're not just to prove that you don't have a small dick. Like that's what I think this image is. Like everything is a dick swinging contest. And I think if my partner were going in that way, and I think in my 5-year relationship, there were signs of that. Because there was like, there was some major fashion changes and fashion choices. There were some major attitude changes, some friendship choices that I questioned. And I kind of thought, and he even said himself, he's like, I think there's like a little bit of a midlife crisis going on because he also got like a whole sleeve of tats.
Right.
So I see the transformation, but it was also not drastic and it wasn't sudden. It was kind of over time. So I wonder if Priscilla saw this happening even like 5 years ago.
We might in the public see it as more drastic.
Yeah. He might be wearing chains at home, like in private.
You know? He was testing it out before he went mainstream.
He was like,
maybe she likes it. We don't know. Maybe she's into it. We don't really know.
Maybe she requested this change.
He's like, I actually want tampons. It's her that does it.
She's the puppet master this whole time. She's like, change it to Meta. That's a better name.
She does not give off that vibe at all, though. She gives off like she fell in love with the dorky, like, engineer dude. That's what she gives off.
Yeah. I have a girlfriend that works with her, and she's like the most normal person. If you didn't know she was married to Zuckerberg, you just assume she's married to some normal dude with a normal family.
I feel like what I would do is like talk to my partner and be like, is there something deeper going on? Like, what is actually behind this? And yeah, it's like kind of an uncomfortable convo, and it might take them time to even recognize in themselves. But that's what I'd want to support someone on is like, what is causing this type of behavior to happen?
Yes. Yeah. Like come from love and concern.
Yeah. And if it's authentic to them, right? If it's coming from like a good place, then maybe it's not as problematic as it appears. But if it's coming from this, like what it seems to be coming from, then it's something to address.
But when you have kids with someone, there is a little bit of accountability that he needs to take. It's not just about his transformation, but also the reputation of their family is at stake.
I mean, I think of that episode we did with your friend from high school, right?
Uh-huh.
That was married. This is a throwback one. I think it was in like 2020 we did this. Actually, I will pull it up. Season 10, episode 6, coming out as bisexual in your marriage. Wow, season 10. I can't believe we're on 20 now.
10 seasons ago.
It's crazy. But, you know, he came out as bisexual and now he is identifying as a woman, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So a lot of changes to their marriage. And what I loved about this story was that his wife just accepted him, or they, for who they were becoming.
And it was an intentional discussion. He didn't come out as bisexual and then later identify as a woman without discussing with her and the children. Like everybody was in the conversation, so it wasn't a surprise. But maybe that's the point of this, what we're saying here, is maybe Priscilla's been in on this whole time. She's known.
We don't know. But anyways, if you have a story that someone dramatically changed in your relationship or a friend's relationship, please share it with us because we do find this really fascinating. So you can always send us a message on Instagram or send us an email.
So curious now. Please tell us.
Okay. Well, before we get into like the topic that we want to discuss more about how many people should you be dating at once, let's take a minute to hear from our sponsors.
Let's be honest, sometimes no matter how much you want to be in the mood, your mind and body just aren't on the same page. This episode is sponsored by Via, the brand behind the most loved THC libido gummy on the market, designed to enhance intimacy, heighten pleasure, and help you fully embrace the moment. Originally created as a limited edition Valentine's release, High Love was such a massive hit that Via made it a permanent part of their lineup. For the last 2 years, it's been helping adults enhance intimacy, heighten pleasure, and feel more connected than ever. These gummies are a hit for me as well, as I am so impressed by the powerful blend of cannabinoids and time-tested aphrodisiac herbs. The formula increases my blood flow, awakens my senses, and helps me fully embrace the moment. Now, if you're 21 and over, head to viahemp.com and use the code DATEABLE to receive 15% off, free shipping on orders over $100, and if you're new to Via, get a free gift of your choice. That's VIIA hemp.com and use the code DATEABLE at checkout. After you purchase, they ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and let them know that we sent you. Take your passion and pleasure to a whole new level with High Love from Via.
Who doesn't love the good things in life? And even though I enjoy a little luxury, it doesn't mean I can always afford it until I discovered Quince. Quince is my go-to for all luxury items. I'm constantly wearing their Mongolian cashmere sweaters. I now have it in green and in tan, and I am obsessed. And if Mongolian sweaters aren't your thing, they have a huge range of high quality items at prices within reach. Washable silk tops and dresses, organic cotton sweaters, and even 14 karat gold jewelry. And the best part, all Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands because they partner directly with top factories and cut the cost of the middleman and pass the savings on to us. So give yourself the luxury you deserve with Quince. Go to quince.com/dateable for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/dateable to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/dateable. Who doesn't love the good things in life? And even though I enjoy a little luxury, it doesn't mean I can always afford it until I discovered Quince. Quince is my go-to for all luxury items. I'm constantly wearing their Mongolian cashmere sweaters. I now have it in green and in tan, and I am obsessed. And if Mongolian sweaters aren't your thing, they have a huge range of high quality items at prices within reach. Washable silk tops and dresses, organic cotton sweaters, and even 14 karat gold jewelry. And the best part, all Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands because they partner directly with top factories and cut the cost of the middleman and pass the savings on to us. So give yourself the luxury you deserve with Quince. Go to quince.com/dateable for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/dateable to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/dateable. So we were on a podcast this week, the time of recording, with Multi-Amory, which is a podcast about like redefining the modern relationship, whether you're polyamorous, monogamous, in a triad or a throuple, like whatever it may be, really open to many configurations. And we talked about dating more from a monogamous perspective. And they asked us a question about like, how many people should you date at once? Like what is kind of an amount that feels realistic? Because they were saying even in poly relationships, it's hard for them to manage past two people.
And you were like, I can't even imagine managing two people, like having relationships with two people.
Two full-blown relationships? I can't imagine.
I can't
but
either.
People do it.
Yes. After that conversation, I actually sat and thought about it. Like, could I start another relationship right now? I don't think so. I also don't want to feel the pressure to have to. I want to do it on my own time. But in dating, I feel like we've been given so much advice about don't put all your eggs in one basket and make sure that you have a lot of people who are a possible candidate, I guess. And then make sure that you have your funnel built and make sure that you track them in spreadsheets. Like there's been so many techniques, but at the end of the day, it's like, how many people can you handle in a way that you can still sustain a deep connection?
Right. And I think it's hard. I mean, okay, so everyone needs to find what works for them. For me, I found actually less is more. I found the times when I was like going on, I admitted on this podcast that there was one time I went on 3 dates in one night, which was very excessive. There was a time in my life that I was definitely an energizer and I was going on a lot of dates per week and really feeding into this number game mentality. In that time of my life, I was also, not surprisingly, very, very single and nothing seemed to go past the third date ever. And what it was that my attention was I was never present with the person because I was always thinking about what else was going on and what was next. There was a time I remember swiping in the bathroom on the date and I was like, what am I doing here? Like, why am I so addicted to like filling the funnel up? So I think you can swing too far, but I also get like not wanting to go all in with someone until you recognize their capacity for a relationship. So I feel like for me, what I've heard from experts as well is like 3 seems like the magic number of not going beyond that because it feels like it would be hard to go deep with more than that. Even that could be overwhelming.
Some of it is circumstantial. It's maybe you've already started talking to someone and you happen to have a connection with someone else in the middle of that. And so another person comes in, but I just get really anxious about having to fill a funnel, feeling like, oh, I got to have other people to compare this person to, because otherwise, like, what if they're not it? And those are the times that I feel like I wasn't present for those connections. And also, I felt like I was doing more to just protect myself than to build a relationship. So the times where I've dated the most amount of people at once was when I was feeling the most insecure. And also when I dated multiple people at once, I always had a favorite. Like, let's be honest, there's always like one clear better connection. And I went out with all these other people because I didn't want to risk putting all of my feelings into this one person.
And that kind of sucks for the other people, right?
Yeah.
That they're just like the backup filler people until like things work out with the person.
Yeah. Because we've all been that too for other people.
Yeah.
And you feel it. You know when you're not the chosen one, like the priority.
I do think there's a time and place for serial dating or going out with a lot of people. Like maybe when you're first starting to date or getting into dating after a long relationship. Like I feel like when I was doing this, you know, going out on multiple dates and all that, I would never do that now, but I think it did help back then because I felt like I was newer to dating. I didn't really know what I was looking for, what jived with me and what didn't. But when I got to like the last round of dating before I met my partner, I felt like I was dating for enough time, had enough like sample relationships that I knew what worked for me and what didn't. And I didn't feel the need to like have all these comparison points. It's like if I met someone and they worked, then I knew that and I could feel confident in that decision. And then if they didn't, I can always go back to the apps and find new people. I don't need to be like rotating multiple people in at once. And in fact, I feel like I was actually not dating anyone else at the time that I met my partner. And maybe like a week prior, I'd gone on a date with someone, but I kind of already closed that chapter before moving on. So I was more about like, I don't know if one at a time is right because it could have been like we went on one date and then it ended, but it was always like closed. There was nothing lingering.
So the point also is the more people you date and the more experience you have, the quicker you can get to a feeling about someone. Yeah. And when you met your now fiance, you knew that there was something there. Like it wasn't like, oh, I don't know. It was like, oh, he feels different. This feels different. I'm going to explore that. But also in earlier dating when you're just starting out, you may not have these feelings as clearly. So I understand the the merit of dating a lot of people. And the point I wanted to make when we did multi-amory was don't forget to date yourself too. Because
Yeah.
when we're dating multiple people, we're just comparing them to each other. And so if you're dating two terrible people who don't treat you well, you're just choosing the one that treats you less
Right.
terribly. But if you put yourself as one of the contenders, you're dating yourself too, you want to find someone who treats you as good, if not better, than you treat yourself. And that's something I forgot to do when I was doing a lot of serial dating. It's like I just chose the one with the least bad behavior.
Right. I'm so glad you brought that up because I think that was like when I was dating this last time around, that was core that dating actually wasn't overtaking my life. Like I was really balancing it. I've talked about this before, how like Friday nights were really reserved for friend time because I knew I wanted to get that sense of connection. And I was also doing a lot on my own and really nurturing my own relationship with myself. So I feel like the times that I was dating less actually yielded real relationships. That was also similar to the time where I met my ex, the one from the UK that had to get deported. That time also.
Before Trump.
Before Trump. But no, actually, during Trump, it was just a different era of Trump.
Oh, shit. You're right.
Get deported. Anyways, lost his visa. I don't know. I feel like that was one of those situations where I'm like, this didn't like go haywire because it was a bad match. It just circumstantial. But at that time, I really wasn't dating anyone else either. Like I was like, oh, this person's interesting. Let me go out with them. And with my current partner, I remember my best friend being like, so what do you think is going to happen like the next day? And I was like, I don't know. And like, if it happens, then great. And if it doesn't, then I'll move on. I think at that time though, in the past me would have been like maybe trying to fill my funnel the second I like someone. But I think I was a lot more calm because I was dating myself so much, balancing my life that I was like, well, if I don't hear from this person in a couple of days or it doesn't work the next date, then I'll move on at that point and I'll just give it that time, that extra couple of days to see what happens.
Yeah, because you're also like, if this doesn't work out, then I have myself and that's not bad at all. Like I actually like hanging out with myself. And the worst thing that could happen is I get more time by myself. Awesome.
And you could always go back to the dating app pool or just like meeting people in real life. Like I think that's the part that I never understand. People don't, well, okay, I do understand it. People don't want to waste time. So that's why they want to do like 3 at once or 5 people at once or many people at once to kind of like compare in this set time. But I actually think we have to think about time differently because if you're just spreading 5 people out hypothetically and you're never really getting to know someone that well, this could go on for months where you're just kind of like dipping your toe in with each person. But if you go all in with someone for a month and really give it a shot and it doesn't work out, then the next month you can move on to someone else. Like, I don't know if it's really this, like you're losing time by having 5 people at a surface level.
Do you think that if you're dating multiple people at once that you should let them all know?
I think it depends how serious you get with them. If you're like moving into, I don't know, like a sexual relationship with people, I would want to know if someone was dating more than one person, or I don't know, if you were just like going on dates here and there was like one primary person, maybe it's not important. But I also think it depends on the expectations that are set in this. If both people are figuring it out in the early stages, I don't know if you need to tell them that like, oh, I'm dating 3 other people too. But I think once it becomes like more clear that something's starting to evolve, whether that's sexually or just you're spending a lot more time together, then that might be the time to share.
If that's the case, let's take one of the old examples from your past, because I'm going to think about the same.
Okay.
If you're entering into a sexual relationship with someone that you haven't DTR'd with, and they volunteer the information that they're also seeing other people and sleeping with other people, would that change your decision to sleep with them?
Depending on the stage of life, but when I was actually looking for something real, it would have.
Okay.
Maybe I wouldn't have stopped seeing them, but I would have maybe held that piece off a bit because it would have, I don't know. I think like for me, I got to a place that I'm like, I want to be exclusive with the person I'm sleeping with.
I guess I just never asked for that clarity. I mean, now, if I were to date again, now it would be very different. I would definitely ask for that clarity. But back then, it was just kind of like, don't ask, don't tell. But I would assume everybody was also sleeping with other people. I just didn't want to know.
Totally. And I guess it depends what you're doing and where your headspace is. Because if you're sleeping with multiple people, you can't really ask someone not to do the same.
But I know that if someone was like, okay, I am also sleeping with other people, I just want you to know, I think I would have bowed out. I think I would have been like,
Totally.
I don't want to do this. But how weird, because these people were probably sleeping with other people. I just didn't want the information.
Well, that's why it's so hard to just go off of what someone tells you. Like there has to be, like people aren't going to say like, I'm only here for a hookup, because most people would just bow out if that isn't what they wanted. But yeah, in theory, that's the ideal thing, is to get on the same expectation. But what's in theory versus reality isn't always the same.
Yeah. But if it's not a sexual relationship, and let's say you've gone on quite a few dates, 5 to 7 dates already, do you think you wouldn't want the other people to know that there's other people around?
I don't know. I think it's hard. It's hard to say just on a number, because it's like, what type of connection is there?
Yeah.
And what time frame are we talking about of these 5 to 7 dates, right?
Right. Yeah. It's hard. I guess I'm just trying to get to, when do you volunteer this information if it's not based on sex? And then would you want to know if other people are dating multiple people? So here's why I thought of this. I have a friend who's dating someone that he really likes. She keeps telling him to go meet other people because she's not interested in being exclusive, which puts him in a very strange mental state, because he feels the need to meet other people, yet he's stuck on her because he really likes her.
Right. That's awkward.
It's awkward. Yeah. But she's like, I don't want to be exclusive.
Well, I guess what I would want to know is like, where is that coming from? Like, what's her reason? Is it that she doesn't want to put all her eggs in one basket and she's like try to protect herself? Or is it because she actually doesn't want a committed relationship? And I think that's what the friend needs to learn, is like, where is this coming from? And also, how long have they been dating? Because I do think at the beginning stages, when you're just trying to get to know someone, you don't know someone that well. That's the reality. So I think it's different if you're dating a couple people at the early stages versus like if you're like 3 months in with someone and they think it's super serious and you're still like hedging your bets with other people. I think those are very different scenarios.
Yeah, it just needs more information. Needs a little bit more understanding.
How long have they been dating?
Like a month.
Okay. I don't think it's like a deal breaker, a month.
Well, I think it's hard because they're not aligned on how they feel about each other. He's like, you're it. And she's like, you're not it. And I still want to explore.
But is it you're not it because I know you're not it and I'm just keeping you on the hook? Or is it you're not it because I'm still trying to get to know you and determine if you're it? Because I think those are very different.
I know. And I don't know if people will be honest with that, you know?
No, but I think you can feel that a little too. Like if you're honest with yourself, I think you can feel when someone is keeping you around because they just want an option versus like they're genuinely trying to see if this could be something.
Yeah. I'm in the camp of, what is this bringing up for me? Because if I'm dating someone, and even if they tell me not to, even if they weren't this direct, like go date other people, and I feel the need to find other people to distract me, like, why is that coming up for me? Where is that coming from? And then why do I feel the need to fill my funnel? That's like, I think first and foremost, I've definitely been there where I just acted on that feeling and didn't explore what I was going through.
Well, I really think that's the core, what you just said, is like, where is this coming from? Like, are you filling your funnel because some expert told you you should be? Are you filling it because you want to like protect yourself in case the person that you like doesn't feel the same way? Are you trying to do it so if you find out that they're doing it, then you're also dating people? Like, where is the underlying motivation? Because I think there's a difference between that versus like, I'm actually genuinely trying to find the right partner for me. And the reality is I don't know after a month. So I'm going to date a couple people and try to see who is right for me and give people more time to reveal themselves. I think those are very different. One is coming from a place of like empowerment. I'm in control of the situation versus one is coming from a place of like protection of ego.
Right. Yes. And there's a lot of cultural differences and generational differences in what we even define as dating.
Yes.
I think the US is like the only country that really dates multiple people at once, casually dates, and other people are like, it's one at a time. But also we define dating very differently. You know, my European friends are like, oh, those are just hangouts or get to know each
Interesting.
other. They're not dates. But I'm like, but you kissed. Yeah, but it's not a date. Like we're just hanging out. You're dating when
Yeah.
you are only hanging out with each other. So we're defining it differently. But I think the younger generations too, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're like a Gen Z or younger, I heard that you all define dating way differently. Like there's really no dating right now. It's a lot of hanging out and then there's a relationship.
Yep. I mean, I think that's like just, okay, of course, Gen Z, there's differences, but just thinking back to like even us when we were in college, when we were the age of Gen
Yeah.
Z today, that
Yeah.
was how it worked then too. I think some of it's like a generation piece, but then also just a stage of life also.
Yeah, right, exactly. You just happen to be in the same class or you just happen to like
Right.
hang out in the same group.
Or you're just like not looking for your life partner necessarily when you're like 18 years old, right? Or 20 years old. Yeah, it's so fascinating. I do think like ultimately though, what I would ask myself if I was determining like, should I be dating multiple people? The question we just brought up of where is this coming from? And then also, can I be present with all of these people at once?
Yes.
Like for instance, I know for me, I wasn't maybe necessarily going on new dates all the time, but I always had someone lingering. Like I always had an ex or a situationship or someone I was still mentally into, and then I was going on new dates to kind of try to block that person out.
Exactly. Yep.
And that to me is like, I shouldn't have been going on those dates. I should have just been taking the time to heal and really remove this person because it wasn't fair to the new person. Because one, I was comparing them. I wasn't present. I was doing it as a distraction of the thing I really wanted. It would have been better for me to just close the book on the situation that wasn't clearly working, or it would have been a relationship, and then move on.
Yeah. So yeah, it's good to understand what your goals are in dating multiple people, and also get our book because we have a whole chapter on investing appropriately.
Yes.
It's all about where do you put your energy so that you have the highest ROI on the energy you're putting out there. And I know that if I were to date, like seriously date 3 people at once, I would have absolutely no energy for myself, for my dog, for life. I would be so depleted. So you just got to know where your capacity is.
Right. And maybe for some people, 3 is like not a big number at all. They're like, oh, I usually do 10. 3 would be a scale down. So yeah, it really comes down to yourself. But also like we've heard people ask before too, like, well, I have this friends with benefits, but they don't matter. Like they're not getting in my way. I think really clearing energy of people that are, we have the single scale of like, how single are you really? Right? Like, do you have these lingering people? Are you truly single? And most people actually do fall into like not truly single and having lingering situations. So yeah, how is all of that affecting the way you show up for new people to date? That's what you want to figure out first and foremost.
All right. That wraps up this week's Brunch Talk. Great discussion. And we'll be back next week for more of your dating conundrum.
See you next week.